The story begins with a frightened girl driving somewhere in her car. She has a bag full of cash and a gun with her. On the way, her car's tire suddenly gets a flat, so she leaves the vehicle behind and continues walking on foot. Just then, a car approaches from behind and hits her, killing her instantly. Inside the car are 4 friends. They were all on their way to their cabin for a hunting trip. Panicked, they get out of the car immediately. They have no idea what to do now, especially with the girl's body lying right in front of them. That's when Paul notices the bag filled with money. Seeing it, greed instantly fills his mind. But the other friends are terrified because they've just hit a girl. John tells them that they should take the money and go straight to the police. Paul responds by saying that the police will just keep the money for themselves and will throw them in jail for murder. But John wasn't okay with any of this. Still, the other 2 friends agreed with Paul because greed had also gotten into their minds. One friend asks Paul what they're supposed to do with the body now. Paul says that once they reach the cabin, they'll bury the body somewhere deep in the woods, divide the money, and forget this ever happened. They load the girl's body and the bag full of cash into their car. They're just about to leave when a police car suddenly pulls up. The officer is actually looking for that same girl. Seeing him, Paul tells everyone to stay calm so the officer doesn't get suspicious. The officer first checks the girl's abandoned car, then walks over to the 4 friends and starts questioning them. Hall says, "We haven't seen any girl here. Our car suddenly broke down in the middle of the road, so we're trying to fix it." The officer replies, "Your car looks brand new. How could it break down?" Hall says he doesn't know. It just suddenly stopped working. The officer then says he needs to check their car. Now Paul is terrified that the officer might find the body inside, so he grabs the girl's gun and points it at the officer. The other friends panic instantly. Both the officer and the friends tell Paul to put the gun down, but Paul refuses and shoots the police officer dead. Everyone is shocked, horrified that he actually killed a cop. One friend says they now need to figure out what to do next. Paul says they'll leave the officer's body right there, so the police will think the missing girl killed him and ran away. Then they get back into their car and head toward the cabin. When they finally reach the cabin, they see the place is completely deserted. After everything that happened, John becomes extremely disturbed and stops talking to everyone. The other 2 friends, Travis and Leo, are digging a grave to bury the body, while Paul starts counting the money. John calls his wife, and she says she has been trying to reach him since morning, but he didn't answer any of her calls. John tells her he'll return home soon after the hunting trip. Next, we see another man named Danny. He arrives at the spot where the girl's car was left. He looks inside the car, but sees nothing. Then he notices a large pool of blood on the ground. From that moment, he knows exactly where he needs to go. He gets back in his car and drives straight to the cabin where the friends are. The friends are shocked to see him while they're still burying the body. One friend asks who he is and why he's here. Danny says, "You guys have my bag. I'm here to take it back." They have no idea how Danny managed to find them. Paul immediately points a gun at him and tells one of the friends to search him. But Danny isn't carrying anything. Danny calmly repeats, "Just give me my bag." Paul asked him how he found them and whether anyone else knows about them. Danny says he doesn't know about anyone else, but he knows everything about them, so they should return his bag. The friends are confused at how calm Danny is acting. Suddenly, they hear noises coming from the woods, which makes them think Danny's men are hiding out there with guns pointed at them. So John and another friend grab their guns and head toward the trees to check. Hall asks Danny how many men he has in the forest. Danny says, "I came here alone," but Paul doesn't believe him. They take Danny down into the basement and tie him up. Just then, they spot a man in the woods. Seeing guns in their hands, the man panics and tries to run, but they catch him and drag him back to the cabin. Paul asks him where the rest of his people are. The man says he has no idea what they're talking about. He lives nearby, his house is close, and he begs them to let him go. He's terrified, and it's clear he's telling the truth. John says, "Look at him. I don't think he knows anything." But Paul insists that the man has already seen them, and if he goes to the police, all 4 of them are going to end up in prison. So Paul says they have to kill him, but this time someone else has to do it. Leo steps up and says he'll do it. The terrified man keeps begging them to let him go, and Leo hesitates. He can't bring himself to pull the trigger. but Paul forces him to shoot. Finally, he fires the gun, killing the innocent man instantly. Leo goes into shock, and John starts dealing with disposing of the body. Meanwhile, Paul goes back to Danny. Danny tells him, "You just killed an innocent man. You're not doing this to protect yourself anymore. You're starting to enjoy it." Hearing this, Paul is stunned. Danny says once again, "I'm telling you for the last time, give me my bag, and I'll leave." Travis suggests giving Danny a share of the money, but Paul refuses. Danny replies, "I don't want to share. I want my full bag." Paul points the gun at Danny's head. Danny stays calm and says quietly, "You can't kill me. And by the way, why don't you tell your friends about what happened in California?" Paul freezes. John asks him what happened in California. Paul finally confesses. Last year, during a business trip to California, he met a girl. She willingly came to his hotel room, but the next morning, she threatened him, saying that unless he paid her a large amount of money, she would go to the police and accuse him of assault. After a long argument, Paul lost his temper and killed her, and he disposed of her body. Hearing this, the friends can't believe what Paul is saying. Paul insists that he panicked and did everything just to save himself. At that moment, Leo storms into the basement and points a gun at Paul. He yells that because of Paul, he was forced to kill an innocent man. Paul fires back, saying that he was the one who stepped forward to pull the trigger himself. Suddenly, Paul grabs the gun from his hand and points it right back at him. John and the Travis to try to stop Paul, but he refuses to calm down. Finally, one of them hits Paul on the head, knocking him unconscious. When Paul wakes up, he finds himself basement with Danny. Upstairs, John and the other discuss hiding the money somewhere in the woods until they figure out what to do next. Down in the basement, Danny starts manipulating Paul. He tells him that his friends are planning to leave him out and take the money for themselves. Hearing this, Paul explodes with rage and runs after John. But before he can reach him, Leo shoots Paul, and Paul collapses to the ground. They believe Paul is dead. Leo goes down into the basement and starts crying. Danny tells him that crying won't help now. He says that Leo didn't want to kill that innocent man, yet he still did it. Meanwhile, we see John in the woods. He notices a hollow tree and hides the bag of money inside it. After some time, Paul regains consciousness. He quickly hides behind a tree. The bullet had hit his shoulder, which is why he survived. Down in the basement, Danny asks Travis if he trusts John. Travis says yes. Danny tells him that Travis is thinking about fixing his life with that money, but he should know that money like this has never brought good to anyone. Travis tells Danny to stay quiet. Danny then says again that Travis should give him all his money, and he will let them leave alive. But Travis doesn't understand what he really means. When John starts walking back toward the cabin, Paul suddenly appears in front of him and points a gun at him, demanding the bag. John throws his gun away and says that he's exhausted by everything that has happened. He tells Paul that if he wants the money, he will take him to it. Cleverly, John leads Paul onto a path filled with traps. As they move forward, Paul's leg gets caught in one of the traps, and he screams in pain. John quickly picks up the gun and runs away from there. John reaches the cabin and tells Leo everything. Leo says they can't just leave Paul there to die. At that moment, Danny once again demands his money. When Travis threatens Danny, Danny replies that he knows everything about them, how they have been betraying their own friends. Just then, Travis shoots him in the head. Immediately after that, a strange sound echoes through the area, and everyone who hears it starts screaming in pain. After some time, they all head toward the place where John hid the money. Along the way, Paul spots them and starts following them. Paul also finds John's gun on the road and keeps it with him. While walking, John asks Travis if he's hiding something from him. Travis apologizes and admits that he's been having an affair with John's wife. Hearing this, John is completely shocked. Furious, he accuses them of betraying him, points his gun at Travis, and says he will take the money and leave. Meanwhile, Danny suddenly opens his eyes, proving that he is not human. Soon, they reach the tree where John hid the money. Leo says they should go back and check on Paul. Travis replies that Paul is probably already dead. At that exact moment, Paul shoots Travis, killing him instantly. Seeing this, John and Leo hide behind a tree. Leo calls out to Paul, saying they were coming to help him. He throws his gun away and says he's coming out, asking Paul to drop his gun too. Paul tells him come out first. Trusting Paul, Leo steps out while holding the bag of money. Suddenly, Leo notices Danny standing right behind Paul. Shocked, the bag slips from his hands. In confusion, Paul shoots Leo too. Now only Paul and John remain alive. At the same time, Danny drags Leo's body under a tree and uses a syringe to draw his blood to keep himself alive. That's when it's finally revealed that Danny is actually a monster. Leo is taking his final breaths when Danny speaks to him. Danny says that humans, blinded by greed, are no better than animals. He explains that he deliberately threw the money between them, knowing their greed would make them forget their friendship. Danny reveals that he did all of this to test them, and that he's been doing this for many years. Meanwhile, as John briefly lifts his head, Paul shoots at him as well. Paul believes John is dead, but John is still alive. As Paul walks over to grab the bag of money, John shoots him and kills him. However, John is also dying because his wounds are severe. Danny then approaches John and makes him drink his blood. He tells him that this blood will make him immortal, and now he is giving John a new life. Saying this, Danny picks up the bag full of money and the gun and leaves. The next morning, Danny places the bag inside the girl's car. Shortly after, we see the same girl walking toward the vehicle, revealing that she is also a monster. She takes the bag and continues her work. She and Danny hunt humans together and collect blood for themselves. Later, in a new location, we see two people who find the same bag full of money and are shocked by it. Greed fills their minds as well, making it clear that they are Danny's next targets. Finally, we see John, who is still alive, joining Danny in this new mission. And with that, the story comes to an end.